LaToken. My name is Sonny Mohanty. I'm the Regional Director of LaToken. I host VCTV Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. Singapore. I cover different topics, and today I'm covering a very interesting topic. It's about investments in marketing tech, marketing, and market segmentation. I have a group of speakers who are experienced in the field in terms of investments, in terms of exposure, and they're going to share great, deep insights on the topic today. So yes, before I jump into introducing my speakers for the evening, I would like to a little bit step back 2 more days before we end 2020 to give you insight about VCTV. So VCTV is a platform to connect investors, founders, entrepreneurs under one roof. The whole idea of VCTV is the same as the Blockchain Economic Forum roadshows we used to host from LaToken, is to connect entrepreneurs with the investors. Because entrepreneurs and founders are the ones who are building innovative solutions, and also looking for funding. So that's where VCTV comes in. So end of the year 2020, lots have been experienced, lots have been seen, lots have been spoken, lots have been written. And today we're going to discuss what happened with marketing. How has marketing evolved over the years, and also what happened in 2020? With digital transformation being the buzzword of 2020, cutting across all the industry and sectors, how digital transformation and marketing went hand in hand together in 2020. So some great insights coming from this panel today. So stay tuned. Also, I would like to highlight, we are live streaming from our website, from our Facebook page, from our Twitter account, and also YouTube. These are LaToken's official social media channels, and that's where we're live streaming from. So you have access to all our social media and the sessions as well. So great, thank you so much. I would like to start introducing our speakers. Our first speaker is Vandana, who was here yesterday as well, because she has deep expertise in social media, investments, and also marketing. And she's going to introduce herself and share a little bit about her investments and the company she represents. Over to you, Vandana. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sonny. First of all, thank you for getting me to this platform. To you and Carol, my deep gratitudes. I'll introduce myself. This is Vanna Tolani from India. I have worked in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years. I had my own family office fund there. Came back to India, did some investments, went back to advisory. So my company, Convanto, does fundraising and business consulting. We are, in terms of geography, we are global, and we connected with 200 investors globally, and we are connected with companies all over the world. So that's a small intro about us, and happy to see you all again as we end 2020.
Excellent. Thank you, Vandana, and thanks for the introduction. Next, I have a new speaker. I mean, obviously, the company has been on VCTV before, but Mohit is on my session for the first time. Mohit from Xfinity, welcome to VCTV Singapore session episode of VCTV. Mohit, please help our audience and other speakers know about yourself, your investments personally as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sony, and thanks a lot, Carol. This is Mohit this side. I'm part of Xfinity Venture Partners. Xfinity is a B2B enterprise tech-focused venture capital firm. We typically invest in pre-series A, series A round of investment, write a check size somewhere ranging from $500,000 to $2 million to begin with, and goes up to along doing follow-on investments. We typically are sector agnostic, and we invest across segments. We have invested in sectors like cybersecurity, industrial IoT, AR, VR, software-defined networks, software-defined hardware. We have invested in big data analytics. A couple of companies are in cloud spaces. We have companies in mobility, in education tech. So you pick up any sector except fintech, we have invested in all the segments, and we are completely sector agnostic. I have been part of Xfinity Venture Partners since more than 4 years, and have been looking across different investments in India as well as US corridor. So look forward to speaking with the esteemed panel here.
Absolutely, Mohit, and welcome to VCTV.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah, so whenever there's background noise, please kindly put yourself on mute so that we get the other speaker get a chance to speak. Thank you so much. Karthik, over to you, and welcome to VCTV, Karthik. Well, just yesterday we were having discussion, very interesting discussion on social media, decentralization. Now we have marketing. We're going to talk about market technologies, and the segmentation. Over to you with your introduction, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Session number 35. And it only gets better every day, as I keep saying that.
Thank you.
A quick background. I have been in the Middle East for the last 10 years and have been dealing in this space in terms of technology, in terms of fintech, health tech. Represent two family offices from Western Europe, a couple of ventures based and have been actively involved in social media space, actively involved in marketing technologies. Also, I'm a strategic advisor to 4 to 5 large e-commerce businesses in delivering digital transformation, which is why I'm actively involved or interested in this space. Disclaimer is active investments in the same space.
Excellent, Karthik, and welcome to VCTV. And we are going to have a lot of insights from you, coming from you as well. Next, I have Jose. Hi, Jose. Welcome back on VCTV. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Sonny. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you for having me here again. I'm well, thank you for having me here again on VCTV. So my name is Jose Grasa. I have been now a serial entrepreneur now for almost 4 decades. Started very young at 16 and rolled in as a business angel. Been a business angel now probably for 3 decades, more or less, after my first exit. Became a VC eventually. I've been doing advising, mentoring, doing programs. But today, what excites me is basically we are focused on a niche market, which is very big. And that's where we are trying to get more talent, which is what we call pre-seed, eventually even in the seed stage, but especially that talent that is not able to fit into any funding criteria for traditional investors.
Right.
And thank you, Sonny.
Yes, thank you, Jose, for that introduction as well. And welcome to VCTV. Finally, we're joined by Gary. Hi, Gary. Welcome back on VCTV. How are you today?
Good. I feel like I live on VCTV.
Exactly, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So great to be here. Great to see all my friends and Karthik, Jose, Vandana, Mohit, yourself, and Carol in the background. So anyway, my name's Gary Fowler, serial entrepreneur. I've done 16 companies. I love artificial intelligence. My background is marketing. By the way, I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce 19 months ago for $1.35 billion. And also am the co-founder of Viva.ai, one of the top AI HR tech companies. And AI is a new electricity, data is a fuel, and 5G is a turbocharger. So it's great to be here. And I'm also the CEO and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier global venture studio located in Silicon Valley, helping companies take their ideas to the rest of the world to create unicorns. So great to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. And welcome back, Gary, on VCTV as well. Fantastic. We are set with all the introductions of our speakers for the session today. So I'd like to start with Vandana with a question very much close to my heart as well. So Vandana, take us through 2020, like the trends in. So today's topic is like we're covering 3 subtopics. Obviously, this is marketing. We have market technology. We have marketing in general, which is many facets to it, and market segmentation. I'd like to ask you to share your insights about market technologies and trends in 2020 and 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. So, marketing technology is also known as MarTech. Is basically a range of software and tools that assist in achieving marketing goals or objectives. The most popular examples of MarTechs are, Google Analytics, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook Analytics, YouTube, and so on. In 2021, MarTech will be expected to rise, And as and when the remote work has become so integral part of the current workforce, many marketing teams are relying on technology to collaborate on campaigns and manage work. So, if you look at last year, Gartner projected MarTech spending will be, 26% of the total budget for 2020 due to the coronavirus. And surveys reported that there's a larger increase in MarTech spend in 2020 than in 2021. Now, if such big companies like Gartner are spending 26% more, you can imagine how important, MarTech is going to come in force. And with the increased demands of collaboration tools, many teams will be focused on this, content production and campaign management. So, these are some of the MarTech's trends that would be coming up are AR, VR, geofencing, marketing automation, programming, advertising, and chatbots. This you'll see, really rise in these sectors heavily.
Yes, absolutely agree. Technology has obviously played a very important role in every sector, including marketing today. And thanks for this opening remarks, Vandana. Next, I'd like to ask Mohit. Mohit, so tell us, like, what's the key trends in the space of market segmentation that you've seen that you can share with the audience and rest of the speakers? Mohit, you're mute. Yeah.
Yeah, so very interesting thing which is happening now. We are past those eras where there is a one size fit all kind of a marketing campaign which used to happen, and where brands used to bombard all set of different users or their consumers with a similar sort of campaign, whether it is on radio, whether it is on television and all. With the advent of social media, what has happened is brands are able to get a lot of data, very enriched granular data for their entire set of users and consumers, and they're able to basically using the data create some demographics of users depending upon various taste preferences, age, taste, gender, everything. And that is leading to a lot of activities which is happening on the market segmentation space. That what is happening basically is a lot of companies are coming up with technology enabled what do I say, analytics or AI in the space where they are able to identify what sort of user segments you need to create. Earlier, most of the entire segmentation is done from the process of being or determined by the marketing managers or the key leaders in an organization who defines that, okay, I want to create a market segmentation with a profile of users in a certain age group. And they sort of start campaign or bombard the campaign to that sort of users, depending on their whatever their hypothesis is. But a lot of AI is coming up in the place where they are saying, we will define the segmentation for you, because we know how users have reacted or how users have interacted with your campaigns earlier. We will also create customized campaigns based on the segmentation which we have created. So it may be useful that, okay, your segmentation may not only create, you should not create a segment for a users in say age group of 18 to 24. You should create also a segment for the user between 45 to 55, because we are seeing that there is another age group which has started adopting the product, and we can create a customized campaign on that front for that sort of user. So mostly what I would say is that technology enabled automatic segmentation, which is not predefined or a rule based kind of a scenario. It is more of a segmentation which is created on the fly, and campaigns are also designed and created to target automatically for those set of users.
Right. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mohit, for sharing those insights about market segmentation. Next, I'd like to go Karthik. Karthik, we were also having a little bit of discussion before we went live, and you had a lot to share. Before I come into deep dive into the sort of how marketing has evolved, can we start with the key trends for 2020?
I'll go the other way around, and I'll take a minute to come to where you really want me to come to. So typically, if you look at the marketing funnel, the conventional marketing stopped at creating interest in the awareness, interest, consideration, intent, and evaluation, and then purchase. The marketing stopped at creating interest in terms of advertisements or communication. The conventional marketing, the digital marketing or the 2020 marketing goes all the way down to mapping your intent, building a consideration, and assisting a purchase, which is what we call the last mile leg or the last leg of the marketing funnel. Now, that has been primarily made possible by moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach that Mohit was talking about and getting into a hyper-personalization, getting right into your doorstep, mapping your intent, and helping you convert into purchases. So it's become a little more, I would say, cohesive with your overall purchase cycles. From a typical breakdown in terms of trends, I would say what used to be a typical advertisement-led business has now moved to closer to the consumer with AR, VR, with AIML, with chatbots, with social media, with personalization, geofencing, making it possible to save your dollars rather than spending your dollars across the city. Now I can pinpoint to a location where I want a consumer to shop. Personalization in terms of communication and lookalike or like-to-like audiences tries and reduces my cost of acquisition by bringing in the right consumer onto the forum rather than moving around and trying to see who's the best possible consumer. In terms of contemporary trends, Sony, I would say voice-based application, chatbot, hyper-personalization, very strong AIML and recommender engines which go into working on e-commerce, trying to build your ticket value, predictive logics, or even predictive churns that work on CRMs to try and maximize lifetime value of a shopper, primarily from the data domain, is where the marketing is going. So if I were to look at from a journey in the marketing space, from a one-size carpet bombing approach to a geofence, micromanaged, location-based marketing is where it is moving. Google Analytics, social media, programmatic, influencers, content, all of it is only fueling the entire engine as we move forward. And the biggest innovations that we have seen apart from digital marketing has been in the loyalty space. Typically in the past, we were buying a consumer's loyalty. Today, we are discounting a consumer's loyalty. So instead of cardinalizing him and giving him a loyalty reward, what we are doing is we are creating incentives, reasons, and gamification of the entire loyalty program to make sure that the person not only has a reason to engage with you for a long time, but he has a reason to move, which is what we call from a transactional loyalty to a reward-based loyalty where he's moved. And instead of trying to go out across the city to bring people, I would rather go to a Sony who's interested in buying fashion and try and make more Sonys like her come from our ecosystem, which is what we call the lookalike ecosystem. Hence, bringing in a far more cohesive, action-packed marketing campaign.
Right.
That's quick trends, but I'm sure we can spend hours talking about it.
Yes, I mean loyalty obviously is a topic in itself, but I think Karthik, you've rightly touched on the points as a starting remarks for the topic. Very, very relevant. Thank you, Karthik. Jose, over to you with your opening remarks.
So I subscribe entirely what I have heard here today, but as everybody knows me, I'm a straightforward guy, straight to the ground. I would like to trim it down to some very simple things. And one is that it's all about your consumer or all about your client. So the only difference between today and what was running 30 years ago was the amount of people and the interests and what they want to consume did not change that much at all. It's the way you approach them that they understand what you have to offer. That's a huge difference. And that's where the other panel members have explained very well how you get to there. But look at it like this. Today, the amount of data that you have at your disposal means that you can prepare whatever marketing strategy you want to define prior to launching. That was not the case 20 or 30 years ago, or even 10, because you had no way to measure it properly. Now today, in real time, you can launch the campaign, prepare, have access to the data, and monitor and check what the effective result is in real time. That was not possible when you would do radio or TV advertising or even newspaper, and that changed a lot. And today everybody's talking about brand building, about selecting your target audience. That is so important because look at it like this: selling something, right, and using marketing is not a problem. The problem is selling something that people want to have. That's the issue. If they don't want to have it, forget it. You know, there's no way you can spend all your marketing budget the way you want and create the need, but if they don't want to have it, they will not pick it up. Now, if you prepare prior, right, and you check all the data because their data is available for you, then you can understand if they want to have it yes or no, and you can even check it out like a small micro campaign to see how it works. And that would be my add-on to whatever was said today here.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jose, for that opening remarks. Very relevant to the topic as well. And last, I have Gary. Gary, over to you with the same question, opening remarks, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is an exciting time, right? With the pandemic, with the hyper personalization. So if we look at it, I mean, just the simple things, Sonny, chatbots, right? So, today, in order to get those hyper personalized experience, companies need to look at chatbots, right? To be able to engage with a brand. It gets the answer quickly. You don't have to sit on the phone and try to say, we'll be with you shortly. Please stay on the line, and your music's playing. No, now we can provide a speedy response. And the difference today is that we can do it. These AI powered chatbots can be used for areas like customer support, contact strategy, and using a really controlled message. And a lot of times today, people don't even know that those chatbots exist. So my thing is, let's get closer to the customer. Then at the same time, we look at where we are with 5G and now 6G and voice search. I mean, it's estimated that, Google said that over 50% of marketers will need to begin adapting to voice searches. And today it's only 20. So we need to look at how we can get closer to the customer and how we can use voice search to be able to help. One of the things, and now with 5G, is the bandwidth, now having the ability to access from anywhere to anywhere. So I'm excited about that. And of course, as data is killing us. And we need to be able to aggregate that data together to help the customers make better decisions. So we need to act better. Marketeers need to act better to be able to collect that data. And all the time, customers are feeding the information to the customers in terms of the engagement. We need to understand those purchasing behaviors and provide a smooth experience, in terms of advertising and marketing and offering the right products at the right place at the right time with things like targeted coupons, again, into hyper personalization. So I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about literally across the board. Social media marketing is coming up very, very quickly. At the same time with this pandemic, the way it is today, people can't shop in a store. I mean, they don't want to. I don't know about yourself, but I'm pretty used to ordering things online now, and I really like it actually. I feel like I'm an Amazon Depot here and Walmart Depot, but one of the things we need to do is we need to make the assortment. When you come into a store, it's not about one thing. It's about having a variety of many things. And finally, retailers are adapting and having let's say, a mall-like experience. So, and I see you, by the way, in your some of your pictures, Sonny, on all kinds of different places in Singapore. It looked like a mall, actually. I haven't been to a mall in so long. I forget what they look like through the pandemic, but anyhow, we need to create these mall-like experiences, right? We need to have the right product at the right place at the right time. So the retailers need to really, increase the breadth of the offering, whether that's in some kind of partnership kind of way, as an aggregator, et cetera. But we need to do that. So it's a great time. We're inundated with data as we are across the board in many vertical markets. The thing is making sense of that data and hyper-personalizing that experience for the consumer and using that technology that we have to make it smoother and easier for them to get information.
Absolutely, Gary. I think you covered most of the insights in the opening remarks. That's amazing. Conversational marketing, insights-driven marketing, and yes, me going into a mall and purchasing something. It just recently happened. Before, like I was obviously just like you, I was in lockdown and I was just doing shopping online, like everybody else in the planet. But yes, we are opening. Like Singapore has opened up phase 3, which means more relaxed measures from the government. So yes, that's why you see me
You're so
talking about.
lucky, Sonny. You're so lucky.
Yes, I am indeed. Thank you so much, Gary. So yes, we are all set with the opening remarks. Let's talk about investments. Mohit was explaining me his about his recent investments to a startup in the space. Mohit, we would like to know more about your recent investments, please, and your startup that you invested. What stage, how much, and why?
So we have invested in a company called MoEngage. MoEngage, we have invested in their Series Seed round, then Series A round, and now that they have gone on to raise Series B and Series C also with external investors. So Eight Roads, Matrix Partners, Venture East are some of the other investors in the company. And very interestingly, they have also been rated as a leaders in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And one of the interesting feature, which why we invested in MoEngage was key. There was a lot of engagement of consumers which are happening at that point in time on web. There are a lot of analytics companies and hyper targeting companies are coming up which are tracking user behavior across the web and targeting with relevant personalized ad. But once you have a mobile interface, in-app mobile marketing and push notification becomes very critical, because the mobile gives a lot more data, and since you there is not an aggregated place where you can collect the data, like for example you can collect data from Google or from Facebook, because these are the gatekeepers. Mobile, typically you have to consume the behavior of the consumer within your app ecosystem, and to deduce the insight in terms of what has been the user engagement within your app and then targeting through a very specific relevant push notification is very important. And the job is not over by push notification only. It starts from there, because what happens is, as once the consumer through that notification comes into the app, you have to make that journey so seamless and so easy for a consumer that the conversion happens. There is obviously an intent to discover more when the users open app, but that discovery or the intent to make a purchase or discover or know more has to be converted into relevant dollar, and that conversion with proper behavioral nudges becomes very important.
Right.
So given the advent of mobile, which is happening from past few years, and the way the consumption of it is growing and the way users are interacting, we thought it is a very good space, and it proved out to be that way. And the company has scaled up pretty fast, raised venture capital rounds, increased their revenue to the north of $20 million plus ARRs, and they are doing extremely well. So yeah.
Oh, that's so. Which quarter did you?
Sorry.
So which quarter in 2020 did you was the investment made?
No, the first investment we made in 2016.
Right.
In 2020 January, they raised a Series C round of $35 million.
Okay, that's good to know. Excellent. Great success story, Mohit, coming from you. Thank you so much. Vandana, can you also talk about the investments that has been made in the space of marketing technology, startup?
Yeah, definitely. I have seen a lot of companies in this space, especially in influencer marketing, who had a good turnover, but somehow the investor sentiments were not yet, fully developed to invest in these kind of startups. Because, of course, it's a changing market, and investors appreciate more of tech firms usually. So, over the course of pandemic, marketing has changed entirely, and the changing ways the firm reach their audiences also is completely changed. If you look at marketing nowadays, before the CMOs had to, prepare these events where we would go and give talks and interact with people. Now it's more with webinars, talking over blogs and talking on platforms like these. Investments definitely in this space will take some more time, and I think in 2021 we will see a huge number of investments taking place in these spaces.
I think, yes, you're right. Lessons learned from 2020, 21 definitely is going to,
Yeah.
going to invest in this space, as you rightly said, Vandana. Karthik, over to you about how does the investment landscape look like in 2020 when it comes to marketing technology, market segmentation?
So there are multiple layers of investments in this space that have happened specifically in the 2018, building up to 2020, getting ready for the next 10 years. Primarily, a lot of investments have happened in AR, VR, in the FMCG marketing, in the retail marketing, especially in the fashion and lifestyle retail marketing. A lot of investments in AR, VR, all the way from in-store communication to Magic Mirror to virtual size assist to virtual shopping assist has happened. IKEA has done one of the largest innovations in this space, developed by a business that started the innovation in Sri Lanka with an investment of around just about $80,000. That's a success story that IKEA bought it at around 1.6 million and invested that into its business. However, of late, we have been noticing, and we have actively, the foreign office has actively invested in a data-driven marketing analytics business primarily, because today everybody is trying to reach out, and I'll give you a genesis of that. Everybody is trying to reach out to the same consumer, and everybody is trying to make sure that his lifetime value is built, his repeat into the business is built. So trying, and instead of going into a old school segmentation logic of either psychographic, demographic, age, functionality, etc., we've moved into an RFM based segmentation, primarily breaking him into an MVC, most valuable second tier, third tier basis, his recency, frequency, monetary value, profitability of the business, his location mapping, and trying to build cohorts in a manner that one can build a level of prediction as to at what time, what level, and what segment of the consumer will give in what level of profitability and top line. Test case has been built with 6 to 7 retailers in Middle East and 1 or 2 retailers in subcontinent India. Investment of around $200,000 as Series A. That's small investment. Expecting to invest typically $4 to $5 million by around 2021, and if the proof of concept comes in successfully. So that's one level of investment, that one direction that we see. We see a lot of investments coming up even in the social media development, content curation, content creation, content augmentation space, which is where a lot of marketing is moving in. Marketing all the way from conventional one size fit, moving into a social media. We've actively invested in 2 startups in social media in India through an India-based investment firm or India-based investment partner. Basic investment of about $200,000, expecting to see results coming out in 2021 as well. But over and above that, at a massive or at a business level, a lot of investments have been made in voice-based recognition, voice-based marketing. A lot of investments are being made in chat, as Gary just about mentioned.
Right.
A lot of investments are being made by geolocation. Locatium is one success story, an Italian firm that invested in geolocation marketing today, won the licenses from almost every telecom operator in the Middle East, and sells its product at $300,000 a year. That's the kind of demand that geolocation marketing has, and they've already acquired 12 to 15 customers. So there is always a demand for that level. A lot of investments are also being done in AR VR. If we were to look at Coca-Cola's investments into AR, buying out AR VR firms out of Europe, or even Pepsi's investment, or even McDonald's investments into AR VR in Middle East as well as in Australia, have started showing results. So there's a lot of investments there. The challenge in the AR VR is that people have already got used to so many trends, and it's such a fast-moving industry that you might not be able to see a return on your investments coming in that quickly, because by the time your product hits the market and it's democratized, industries move 2 levels beyond that. So that's
So this
one idea of the investments in this space.
Is it only AR and VR that is crowded, or the chatbots? Because we have seen chatbots for a long time as well, isn't it?
It continues to evolve. But if you see too broad, one is the data-driven marketing, which is continuously building, and data-driven marketing is driving a lot of personalization, a lot of geolocational marketing, a lot of digital spends. Digital spends. Historically, as a marketer, I didn't know which side of the dollar gave me returns. Today, I know exactly what dollar is giving me what returns, and hence I plan my campaigns accordingly. A lot of marketing automation investments. When we look at micro investments, a lot of marketing automation investments, what Trello did, what Monday.com did, what Asana is doing, is the kind of investments that are coming in primarily from subcontinent India. There's one typical graphic content curation company based out of Coimbatore that is raising investments to the tune of around $70,000 to start building in a multinodal graphic content. So 3 to 4 people can work on one graphic element from 4 or 5 different locations in the world to create a particular ad campaign, which would give you that much more faster speed to market or time to market kind of activities. So there's a lot of innovations coming in at various spaces. But if one were to see, primarily marketing has become that much more data driven, that much more insight driven, and that much more return driven. And hence it's about these four sectors that I'm very bullish.
Yes, it's exactly. It's very lot of innovations happening. Even though we've had chatbots in the past, AR, VR, but a lot of innovation happening, and you're very right. It's insight driven and data for sure, data driven, the big data. Jose, over to you. So, what investments have you seen that happened that went into the marketing dollars in terms of technology?
technology? Let me put it like this. There are some in 2015, there were a lot of these tech companies in marketing area that kicked off, and they were very successful. They were making a lot of money because it was a new, let's say, a vertical that was running, which was digital marketing. But today, that is fully taken over because it's everybody is doing it already, right? So there is nothing much new about it. What is still a challenge that nobody can solve completely is you need to build up your brand. You need to have the right tone of voice. You need to be able to reach the right audience, target them in a properly manner. And that's what it is. Doesn't matter what type of digital issues or verticals or ways you approach them. You know, if you don't manage this from the beginning, if you don't do it properly, there's nothing is going to save you in getting you conversion rates. So at the end, those technologies, they are an add-on to already existing strategies and plans that are, you know, they are around here for like 100 years. Doesn't change much because Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola and McDonald's is McDonald's. It doesn't change. The only way that changes is maybe the way they start communicating with you. And it's all about lifestyle, right? Not everybody eats a Big Mac and not everybody drinks a Coca-Cola, as an example, right? People also like Pepsi. So you need to understand that. If you don't understand that, you know, and what I see is that the investments in 2021 will be in a different area and in something that I call converging technologies. And converging technologies will be able to drag out that data that you are not able to drag out in one shot today because it's all spread out in different, let's say, ways that you can address that data. And once you're able to get that data in real time from converging technology in one shot, that's where I see that the investment will go to the new type of companies. And that includes everything that everybody has been talking about here, like the chatbots, the AR, the VR, and everything related to it. It's about being able to converge the technologies in one shot.
Right, absolutely. Converge the technology into one shot. Thank you so much. Gary, over to you. You have so many portfolio companies under your venture, GSD Ventures. Please share some stories with our audience and other speakers, please.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is, you know, we're back to basics. What we're looking at GSD, it's really back to basics instead of MarTech. I mean, the basic principles of how you market and build a brand really haven't changed much, you know, despite what everybody says. It's really what technology's done is really magnifying what we've always believed to be true. So all the marketing tools out there. I mean, think about it, Sonny. When you used to go out and ask your friend, where's the best place to get a milkshake or a hamburger or a sushi? You would ask one friend. What do you do now? You go out and look at the reviews on Yelp.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't changed. It's just you have a wider audience to go to. So the other thing is we've always wanted to enhance that experience, having chatbots that can make it seamless, interesting, and now because of the technology, human-like is really interesting because what's it all about? You got to get the information to that consumer as fast as you can. So we're in a dawn of a new era. If we look at what Karthik said in terms of data-driven analytics, that's what it's all about. I mean, we are, as you know, and I've said many times, is that the amount of data around us increases at 62% per year. We are inundated. We're in a state of infobesity. We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't even know what email address. If somebody says, listen, I sent something, information over a file, how many different repositories do you have? You've got Telegram, you've got WeChat and WhatsApp and Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, I know how we interact, right? It could be anywhere. So part of the challenge is to make it an easier experience and more pointed and more laser precise and more hyper personalized. What we got to do is filter out the data that's out there that's getting to the consumers and give them exactly what they want for the right product, the right place at the right time. So that's where we are. The exciting thing at technology is finally at an incredible level to be able to do that. So I'm excited about it. You know, we invest in AI companies. We curate AI companies to take them global. And it's all about data and across multiple vertical markets. The same story, Sonny, goes across manufacturing, supply chain. We're inundated. We need to make better decisions. We need tools that are not smart assistants, but intelligent assistants with artificial intelligence to help us make our lives better and help our companies run smoother.
Absolutely, Gary. Undoubtedly, great insights there from you as usual. I have Karthik obviously would like to share some insights on particular topics: segmentation trends, behavioral segmentation, and aggregator theory. Sorry, I'm not aware. Karthik, would you like to maybe just break it down, simplify it for the audience?
From what Gary said, and I'll pick up from what Jose said. So historically, marketing was all about retailers and businesses trying to chase consumers. Now, with the digital marketing space being so overcrowded, in the next 3 to 4 years, and we've already started seeing big daddies like Uber, Google, Amazon, or maybe Noon in this part of the world would typically become the aggregators of shoppers. So they would be housing a couple of million shoppers. Amazon might house a few billion shoppers with them. And businesses would, instead of trying to go and look at different media channels or different media vehicles, would be compelled to look at these aggregators as the source of consumers. So I wouldn't have to go and do a marketing campaign in 50 different locations. I would just need to go and reach out to Amazon or an Uber and tell them that you already aggregate a few billion loyal customers with you. Let me run a campaign through you and generate an ROS. So what used to be a huge ecosystem over the next 5 to 6 years, if this is the way businesses would continue, would get into that much more streamlined, funneled ecosystem where the funnel would reverse itself from, instead of being a bottom up funnel, it would become a top down funnel, making it all the more easier for brands and businesses to reach. Obviously, the cost would be prohibitive. Aggregator theory of Uber, Amazon has been very popular in the last few weeks, but this is where the marketing might end up in the next few. And if one were to look at affiliates, partnerships, alliances being the future of the business, this is exactly where we are heading.
Very rightly, I now understand the aggregator theory, the Ubers and the Amazons and the Booking.coms.
So they house billions of customers with them. All they need to do is democratize these customers, take these customers out to any other retailer who wants to do business and charge dollars for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the way forward. Anyone would like to add to that, what Karthik just said? Mohit, Vandana?
Another interesting development, and the reason I'm here is because I love this topic more than the investment part of it, is also typically the marketing funnel in the end or in the past stopped at intent, which means it wasn't even worried about, or it couldn't even get into managing the purchase and the intent. But today's marketing funnel, with retargeting, with abandoned cart management, with cookies, pixels, and assisted shopping, all the way make sure that anybody who once comes into the funnel, it prevents all the way up to 50 to 60% lapses on funnel. Now, which necessarily increases your return on investment, it necessarily builds your return on ad spend, and it tries and makes sure your conversions are optimized in the business. Now, that is a huge intent. What marketing used to be in the past was an enabler or a support function. Now, marketing primarily in the digital space is a converter and not just an enabler. While everybody talks about a UI and a UX being a converter, in a lot of instances, especially in digital marketing space, marketing continues to be a converter as well.
Wow, excellent. Thank you, Karthik. I've learned so much today. So, Vandana, coming over to you, would you like to, what's your best advice for startups in this space? Considering this is a very fast moving space and a lot of, it's very competitive as well. What I understand from all of you, it's very data driven, it's very insights driven, it's very tech driven, and lots of it's not easy for a startup to probably scale up or survive for a long time with the competition around. So what's your best advice for, I mean, obviously one advice is not enough, but just one if you have to choose and pick.
In my journey, I've come across many startups that don't know how to market themselves properly. So they don't even know how to use a WhatsApp status. They don't know how to market themselves using a WhatsApp marketing. They don't know how to put a Facebook story. They don't know how to put a LinkedIn story, a Twitter story. So I think, when I talk about to some of these startups about these things, and I have to really educate them that these are the platforms that one can use also for marketing, and take up this Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, take it up as a marketing platform and start marketing yourself, because these are the most active platforms that any that's the best way to market. So typically look at ourselves. We are also in so many business groups on in WhatsApp, and if there's anything, we do post there as well. We're always connected on LinkedIn, tagging each other. So all these things, they detail oriented things, many startups don't know. Many people don't know what is tagging. Many people don't know how to market themselves by resharing a post, or just putting a simple WhatsApp status. So I think I would highly recommend to everybody to learn these platforms. I myself am learning Instagram from my kids, because I'm not so friendly with that platform. So you can imagine that how Instagram reaches also go to places.
Sure, social media marketing, that's social media marketing is obviously the
Yeah.
current trend, as we see, and rightly said, Instagram we don't use, but I have seen people earning a living out of Instagram marketing. So
Yeah,
rightly
that's
said.
true.
Mohit, what's your best advice? You see a lot of startups within your portfolio. So what's the best one advice you have to give a startup who is in the space? Marketing is too crowded, like, be it technology, be in the tech side of that, or aggregator. It's already overcrowded. Digital marketing is so, like, so many digital marketers out there in the market. So what's your best advice for a startup?
So very rightly said, actually, and the space is being very crowded because what has happened is, apart from the sheer number of companies which are there in the space, the thing is that there are certain levers to optimize the campaigns and deliver the leads to the funnel, and people over the past few years have mastered the art and optimized the key levers. So it is very hard for a new upcoming startups to improve the ROI and justify that how I am able to, or they are able to get more leads which are more qualified leads or more better leads. So I see is that going forward, marketing companies or new upcoming startups coming in the space have to move up the value chain and go towards adding more and more features of sales. In terms of that, though, you are able to deliver and get more and more leads into my funnel, but what after that? How you can better qualify the leads, how you can help companies in sales enablement, or you can help them in conversion of those leads into prospective customers. So from campaign to delivering leads and all this, the starters have to move up the value chain and now focus more on enablement, more on conversions and all those things. So this is the gradual shift which all the companies, startups in the space have to go forward to, and I think this is inevitable. They have to do that.
Very rightly said. In my job as well, I face the same issue. I mean, lead conversion into a sales is what every business is driven by. So marketing has been historically known as a lead generation tool, but as you rightly said, to survive in this very crowded space, you have to have that sales, conversion happening as well at the same time. Thank you, Mohit, for those insights. Jose, over to you with the same question, because you also
Because
see
you
a
also
lot of
see a lot of
entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs.
So let me put it like this. The way things are going today, either you recruit people, right, and you build a team and you make it happen, or you do outsourcing. Because, and the third option is that you have the knowledge. Now, in essence, most of the startups or the founders that start today, Not everybody has knowledge about everything. It's not also expected that you have knowledge about everything. It's not possible that you have knowledge about finance, marketing, business development, let's say software development, etc., etc. So that's not how things work today. So the way it works is that you need to get that knowledge to you. And if you intend to get that knowledge, is fine. You can learn, but it takes an X amount of years, right? It can even take 20 years if you want to converge them all in one shot. So this is a big problem for every founder. And the competition is like very, very hard. Everybody is basically trying to get the same attention from all the targeted customers, right? So you need to come up with something which is unique. What I can tell you is like this. I was able in my lifetime, because I love marketing. I always was spending between marketing and finance. Eventually, I decided for finance, but I still have always worked on marketing. What I learned during this 30 years, and I have been able to get turnovers doubled every year in several verticals. It's always about a fine tuning. It's not about a huge change, right? So it's always about a very small fine tuning. And that fine tuning can be sometimes in a trickle in finance, sometimes in a trickle in how you expose it, and sometimes in a trickle how you eventually just do a slight change on the product itself. There is no magic wand. You need to test.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. So my suggestion to the newcomers is like this. Don't think you're going to do everything. The first thing you need to think is equity is the new money. Okay, this is what I always say. Equity is the new money. It means that get people on board in your venture that are knowledgeable and can make a difference. Share with them your equity, right? Because that's what you have to give. You don't have money, fine. Share the equity. And they come on board and suddenly you have the knowledge. If you don't want to do it like that, then it's fine. You need to go out, raise the funds, and spend it on outsourcing. Or eventually you don't need both because you have all the knowledge, you know. But that's how it works.
Very great points, because I have seen startups who are offered this equity method of sort of being a part of a company. Then you have outsourcing methods as well, raise the funds, but it takes usually take time. But the point that you said, because I've seen it myself in Singapore, like founders sharing equity, and they bring that knowledge and they develop the product and the market, go to market. And I have seen very successful startups in the space as well. Thank you,
Sometimes,
Jose. Very
sometimes, Sonny, it's more important to get that person on board, share the equity, than
yeah,
raising the funds. Because the problem
yeah,
is always like this. When you raise the funds, you spend it, it's done, right? And it's
yeah.
finished. But when you get somebody on board, he normally brings much more than the funds that you are raising, because the ticket that you are going to pay, okay, for that person to get on board, probably in funds, it's probably higher. And where most of the startups get killed, in
Mm.
essence, is always on the payroll, because the payroll is a huge pressure on every startup.
Absolutely, totally. I can totally relate to what you're saying. Thank you so much, Jose. Gary, over to you, please. I mean, you have so many portfolio of startups. So what's that one advice? And we can just plug together the closing remarks as well with this question for you, Gary.
I mean, the situation is I've got 30 some years worth of experience. So over 30 some years worth of experience, you just see a lot. And there's a lot of commonalities too. So Vandana mentioned something that's critically important. Today, especially during the pandemic, people don't know who you are. So, I write a lot. I'm active on social media. I'm active in conferences and presentations. You got to get active. They got to look. I have a billionaire friend of mine, actually my partner in EVA, David Jang. He said to me, he said, you need to be looked at as an influencer status. He said, so you need to make sure your knowledge base is up, your own personal knowledge base is up to snuff, and you need to be active. And what that means, writing books, articles, presentations, speaking engagements, and get associated with industry renowned individuals, just like we have on the panel today. So it's important to do that, because when the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look in Google and they're going to look in LinkedIn. Who are you?
Yeah.
Really? And the thing is, I have a very, very well-known um, friend of mine who doesn't use social media, extremely well-known, but he just doesn't use it. And so he's like, he said, well, everybody says to me they want to look at my LinkedIn and they want to look on my Facebook and they want to look on Google and search me, and I don't have that much out there, and I did it for a reason. And he said, but it's killing me. And I just had the conversation with him 2 weeks ago. And here's a guy that's famous, has the same issue. He just doesn't have the recognition. So my thing is get out there. So, being sure that you come up in first on searches is important. You've got to have your own personal strategy. In order to run your company, you have to have your own personal brand strategy to be able to do that, or you're not going to be successful. Because now today, they're not going to meet with you in Silicon Valley at Hobie's in Palo Alto's where you traditionally go to, meet with folks. I do anyhow. And near Stanford University, but you can't do it. And so now you got to come up with other ways to be able to build trust and credibility. So that's important today. I think that this is the greatest opportunity that we've ever had because it really democratized and we can reach anybody anywhere. I got to tell you, from a LinkedIn perspective, I've communicated with the CEO of Intel, Eric from Zoom. I mean, you name it, literally across the board. Very, very famous people. And that access wasn't available a year ago because they were so busy. Now the situation is because fear, because of the unknown, because they want to connect, and because we have a lot of visibility now, people are connecting. It's important. So, this new world order, look at yourself, look at your own status, look at your company's status, come up with an integrated social media strategy, use the lessons learned from marketing technology and apply it to yourselves and your company.
Great, great insights. I mean, I love this panel so much now. Personal branding, social media marketing. It's again about people. Find the right people, as Joseph said, get them on equity, build a solution, and raise funds. Mohit, we can redefining the marketing for beyond the lead generation tool. Amazing insights coming out of it from today's session. Karthik, conscious of the time, closing remarks for the topic today and your best VCTV moments, considering it's the end of the year, 2 more days, and we are done with 2020. So we will still like to hear your best VCTV moments before we get the show over.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So, my only advice in my closing remarks for the startups is technology is still an enabler, and in marketing, consumer is always the king, and technology will always be the slave. Don't come back to us with a technology stack that redefines or that wants to boil an ocean overnight. Remember, it's always the man behind the machine and the machine which is more important. Understanding of consumer anthropology, understanding of customer ethnography, buying behaviors, personas, habits, ecosystems is far more important in trying to deliver a product that suits a customer. It is not about trying to build an entire infrastructure without understanding, and it won't work. I see a lot of web technologies. I've been in the process of developing an e-commerce platform for a business now, and I realized that we've met around 15, 16 partners. Everybody comes up with the same bread and butter web technology, but most of them fail to understand how people shop on the platform. And what necessarily defines marketing is how people behave, why people buy, how people buy, when people buy, and how can you make them buy more. But that is the ethos of marketing, and that will always continue to be the ethos, whatever technology comes. In terms of my best moments on VCTV, ambush marketing that Sony does is the best moment on VCTV. Every day, Sony ambushes me from morning to evening, and I love that. And otherwise, my fireside with Terence are the best moments on VCTV. And listening to
Oh,
Gary is always a pleasure. Gary has been an inspiration for now almost 6 months, and it's been a pleasure, Gary, always.
Yeah, same here, Karthik. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you, actually.
thank you so much, Karthik, for this sharing this best VCTV moments, starting with my ambush marketing. Terence would be very happy to know that, hear that. I'll let you know. Thank you so much, Karthik. Um, Vandana, please, your closing remarks and best VCTV moments.
So, I have a short story to tell here. I'll tell you that I only started doing a lot of LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp during this lockdown period. Before that, I was hardly, into it deeply until somebody told me, I've done so much work, and why don't you just come on this platform actively? And that's when I started connecting on this platform, and now I'm learning Instagram. So I think, like Gary mentioned, that we need to connect with these platforms, learn our personal branding correctly, learn the right techniques to do it. And everybody has their own strategy of marketing. Everybody does it in their own manner. At some point about a year ago, I used to share these quotes on Facebook. I used to love quotes, and I never knew that some startups were looking up to me because of those quotes. And one day I just got a call, and they said that you know what has inspired me the most to live up till now is the quotes that you post. So I didn't know
Ah,
that this was what was happening. So these platforms, I have started using Facebook very actively, and I can clearly say a lot of business comes from LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, like you rightly said, and all these other platforms. So we need to use it more actively and get hands on with it, because these are just the basic things. Even a small thing like a WhatsApp status should be used actively. And
absolutely.
my best VCTV moments, each moment is better than the other. Like I said, like Gary always says, it's a therapy session, and it's for like-minded people. Each moment is better than the other, and this is my last show for this year. I'm very happy, wishing all of you a very happy new year. It's always pleasure to be here, and thank you to you and Carol for taking and making so many efforts to coordinate all this. It's really takes a lot amount of effort. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Vandana, to be on our panels with a lot of enthusiasm, passion. Every time I send you a message, you are right there. Not even a second is missed before you can respond to me. So I love that enthusiasm that you have and the dedication that you have. I had to add that because this is your last session. I'll be back tomorrow. Hence, I had to, add that as a closing remark. And again, what are you doing on Facebook? That's as per